Great. If everybody could take their seat, the Deputy Secretary will be here in about 2 or 3 minutes. I did want to say that immediately after the Deputy Secretary's discussion, we're going to go right into lunch. And as a reminder, Congressman Fleischman is going to start immediately at 1 p.m. So please try and get back in this room for 1 p.m. to hear the chair of the House Energy and Water Appropriations Subcommittee talk about appropriations and many of the other issues that we're working on. I also, well, there's my call that he's here. We're cleared, come on in. Bye. Great, live, you get to see it live, how we all work. But I want to thank the team, the regulators, and Carolyn for facilitating a great session. I think it's really interesting, you know, as the community team and the community folks, as we're working on this, we always work with the regulators, then we're pushing on them to do something, and there's a great give and take as we're going through. And as someone in the 1990s who worked in that Federal Facilities Office with EPA, it's great to see them in their role. So I'm going to get out of your way. The Deputy Secretary is coming in right now, and I'm going to hand it over to Mayor Gerry as soon as he walks in the door. The other thing, we do have a survey, so please make sure that you complete that survey, and please tell us the information that you want to see out of next year's conference as we're moving forward. For those of you from the new career folks, if you have any questions, please reach out to myself and anybody else who you've seen on any of these panels, because our goal is to make sure that we're working and educating you all as we're working on these issues. And you know, if it hasn't been said yet, we're very excited that you all are here as well. Because I think you bring a new energy to what we're working on. So we appreciate you all being here at these meetings. So I think that's the end of my song and dance as we wait for the Deputy Secretary. Here it comes. All right, go ahead.
All right. You know, so far it's been a great meeting. Looking forward to introducing our next speaker. Once again, I'm Brent, Gerry, Mayor and CEO of the City of West Richland, from the other Washington State, as well as the chair of ECA. Today I have the honor of introducing our keynote speaker, Deputy Secretary David Turk, who among many other jobs is the lead political appointee responsible for the environmental management program. This is the second time that the deputy has come and joined us at an ECA conference, and I wanted to highlight on a couple of themes of this national workshop meeting this afternoon and tomorrow. First, we started this meeting yesterday with both a training program for almost 200 early career EM professionals. The goal is to introduce the next generation of leadership to the EM program. Second, we held an ECA FCOG lunch and a meeting of governments, contractors, as well as DOE. We highlighted that we are creating partnerships to work together on workforce training and other issues. We also recognize that the partnerships have been beneficial to create relationships and the understanding of each other's priorities. We are appreciative that the first time we met with ECA, you highlighted the importance of working with local governments and appreciated that the EEM and the other offices under your management have continued to carry through the commitment to work with our local communities. Finally, I would like to let you know that we strongly support the new energy initiative at DOE sites. The Clean Up to Clean Energy program should bring opportunities of many to our sites throughout the entire complex, especially our site at Hanford. Yesterday, we spent a lot of time discussing initiatives that we appreciate and that you are committed to working with our local communities on this important initiative. We look forward to the Hanford Informational Day, September 22nd. We are excited about the opportunity to leverage this DOE land and our incredible workforce to create new cleanup projects, clean energy projects from the Clean Up to Clean Energy. We appreciate the engagement of the cleanup and test 1, 2. I'm glad it's not just me. I've heard it throughout the morning, but that was just how strong the deputy is to come to our meeting this afternoon. So with that, we will welcome Deputy Secretary Turk to the stage.
Well, let me start with a round of some thanks, and certainly to our mayor. I'll be coming out your way next week and really looking forward to helping to support the cause out in Hanford and the Tri-Cities region more generally. Let me also start with a thanks to our EM colleagues, Ike and Jeff, our leadership, but all our EM colleagues. I've found it to be just a phenomenal team of dedicated professionals stepping up day in and day out, of course, working in partnership. That's why we're here. This is a meeting about partnership. But if we could give a round of applause to our EM colleagues, I think they deserve it. And thanks also to our Energy Communities Alliance for your long-standing support, your partnership on the cleanup mission, and especially for amplifying the voices of all our communities. I think one of the great strengths of our country is we have feedback cycles, right? Not all wisdom comes from DC. In fact, relatively little wisdom we see some days. But I think our system of government works best when we are listening to, having those conduits of information, that back and forth with communities. So really appreciate the role the Energy Communities Alliance has played in particular. A big thanks too to our energy facility contractors group. Nothing gets done without you all and in partnership with you all, from strengthening our workforce, developing technology solutions, and of course, making sure that everything we do has safety at its core. So thank you for all that you do. Also want to thank some international colleagues here with us as well from the United Kingdom and Canada. I think this is an area where we are all stronger from that kind of collaboration, that kind of sharing of best practices going forward. And I want to also thank our colleagues from across DC on Capitol Hill. I know you'll hear from Rep. Fleischman, just a terrific member of Congress, a leader for many years, including on the EM portfolio, not just in Oak Ridge, but throughout the country. And I think tomorrow you'll hear from Rep. Newhouse as well. Just a big thanks to our congressional partners. Nothing gets done in DC, largely because they control the power of the purse. That's how Article 1 of the Constitution's written, for those who remember that from their civics days. But it's great to work with the likes of Rep. Fleischman and Newhouse and many other senators and reps as well. Let me start now, after the thanks, with a little bit of audience participation here. I know you'll have lunch here soon. Hopefully this will help get a little bit of the blood flowing. I'd like everybody to raise their hands who've seen the new Oppenheimer movie. Those who've seen Oppenheimer, I hesitate to ask who's seen the Barbie movie. It might be a little bit larger. Oppenheimer movie is fantastic for those who've not seen it. That's not an official plug by the Department of Energy and the administration. We're not allowed to do that. Now, if folks can raise your hand for those who have seen the movie, if you saw your jobs in your community specifically portrayed in that movie. I suspect it's a relatively smaller number of hands going up, especially with the real people's lives who are impacted by the community and the real people working on the cleanup side of things. I thought Oppenheimer was a fantastic movie. Christopher Nolan's one of my favorite directors. It's got drama in it. It's even got a Senate confirmation hearing that they make look really interesting. They're not that interesting. For those who've gone through the Senate confirmation process, usually it's a lot of sitting around waiting for Congress and the Senate to do it. But I think two stories are really conspicuously absent in that Hollywood dramatization of what happened in World War II and leading up to the Cold War. First is about the communities living close to these nuclear sites. Tangentially, a few sites were named. I know we got excited at the Department of Energy when Hanford was named, and a few other places were named, just in terms of seeing communities that we work in. But the people's lives in those communities affected throughout the generations were not really portrayed in that kind of way. And secondly, and certainly appropriate for this discussion today, are the folks who came in to clean up. After all the theorizing, all the testing, and all the building. Now, those are incredibly important stories. I'm not sure if Hollywood will ever latch on to those stories. I'd love to see a movie with Ike. I don't know, who plays you, Ike, in the movie? We'll take a poll on that of who, I don't know if that's Matt Damon. Would Matt Damon? But these are incredibly, incredibly important stories about the communities we work in and about all the incredibly fantastic, not only technical work, but the teamwork to clean up these sites. And that's what I really want to take a look at and recognize the progress we've made and recognize the shared journey, the challenges that we've got going forward. Just a few statistics. Some of you may be very familiar with this, but just to recognize the scale of what we're working on here. First of all, it's 20,000 federal workers and contractors and partners working on this. That's an awful lot of Americans day in and day out going to work, stepping up and helping their communities. Since EM's inception in 1989, we've completed cleanup at 92 sites across our country, decontaminated and demolished thousands of individual facilities, and permanently dispose of more than 179,000 containers of waste. That's an awful big scale, again, in communities across our country. And where the cleanup efforts are ongoing, engaging with the communities most affected by this legacy of our nuclear programs and paving the way for future scientific discoveries. It's phenomenal to see the science, I have to say, going on in EM, not just at Savannah River, but throughout the complex, and that science feeding in not only in terms of what we're doing on the EM side, but more broadly. Now, as impressive as those numbers are, let me just give you a few more specific examples of what we're talking about here. So one, let's look at the Idaho National Laboratory site, and I'll be heading there next week as well, in addition to going out to Washington. Over the past decade, DOE and our partners have found a new way to treat radioactive tank waste that had frankly been stumping us for years. Again, trying to really think creatively, come at this in a variety of different ways. We have town halls from time to time at our Department of Energy, and we had a particular team that was working in Idaho recognized. I thought it was one of the most powerful moments we've had at one of our town halls. Colleagues who've been working for decades on these issues really being recognized appropriately so, from my perspective. A transformative accomplishment at Idaho, which could not have been achieved without the ongoing support and partnership from the state of Idaho, but also local community leaders and tribal leaders as well. Take Oak Ridge, where we took down a dilapidated uranium enrichment complex and built an industrial center, historic park, and conservation area. Super cool to be able to deal with our responsibilities, our legacy responsibilities, and return back for the economic health of that community. As we actively eliminate the inventory of uranium-233 at Oak Ridge, we're also clearing land to support NNSA, national security missions, creating space for the Y-12 incredibly important efforts that they're doing, including on lithium processing facility, extracting isotopes to advance next generation cancer treatment, enough to create 500,000 doses every year. That is real world impact, real lives being impacted for the better. And now EM in Oak Ridge is slated to transfer over 375 additional acres to the state, again, to attract new industry, bring new jobs to the region. So the numbers, the big numbers, the statistics are impressive, but I think those individual stories of what we're actually doing with real communities, in partnership with real communities, mayors across the country, is even more impressive, I have to say. But the impact of these efforts, these cleanup efforts, don't end here. As the mayor mentioned, in July of this year, our secretary, who I have to say was really looking forward to being with you all this year, I'm not sure if it's been explained, but the president asked her to fly over to Hawaii. We're trying to work in partnership with some other agencies to help what's going on in Maui, the fire devastation. We've got a $95 million piece of money that we're sharing to Hawaii to try to build up their grid even more resiliently, to try to avoid these kinds of dangers in the past. So that's where she's at. I think she's still on a red-eye flight coming back from Hawaii, so apologies that she's not here with you all. But in July, our secretary, our fearless leader, unveiled an exciting new project at DOE, which frankly owes its very existence to the work that so many of you have been part of for so many years. As the mayor said, we call it our Clean Up to Clean Energy program. I think that's terrific branding. It really shows the arc of what we're trying to do across our Department of Energy. And what we're going to do with this program is take some of the lands that you've remediated, that we've been working on for so many years, and for the first time ever, begin leasing them out so that developers, other partners, can build some of the largest clean energy projects in the world. Starting with 5 sites, that's Hanford, that's the Nevada National Security Site, Idaho Falls, the Waste Isolation Plant, WIPP in New Mexico, and the Savannah River site. We're talking about thousands and thousands of potential acres, ripe for solar, for nuclear, for geothermal, for clean hydrogen, net zero microgrids, battery storage, bioenergy, projects large enough, given the size and scale and scope of what we do, that literally can power entire cities. That is a big deal, and at its core, this is a marriage of so many things that we try to do at the Department of Energy in a very, very exciting kind of way. It relies on the land that we've used to strengthen our energy security and national security for many years, land that we have dedicated ourselves to cleaning up and revitalizing for future generations, land that can create good paying jobs and be part of that economic development that I'm sure the mayor is eager to take advantage of, and mayors across our country. And land that we can now use to deploy clean energy, and in the process reduce our carbon emissions and make sure that we're playing our role in what we need to avoid situations like we had in Maui and other natural disasters that we're seeing, unfortunately, with so much increasing frequency. And as we prepare this land, this clean up to clean energy, we're going to need so many more experts and so many more partners. 20,000 is a large amount. We've got to continually do our part to make sure that we're bringing in a new parts of our workforce and representative of the entire strengths of our country. We need the deep bench in science and technology and engineering and math. I know that there was a terrific early career pre-conference workshop yesterday that sounds like it went incredibly well, and certainly hope that we can all work with young professionals and have them see an opportunity for them to really be part of this team, be part of this incredibly important mission. And important as we do that, to make sure that this workforce, our workforce, is representative of the entire country. So I'm incredibly proud that we've really strengthened our relationships with historically Black colleges and universities, other minority serving institutions. Our Oak Ridge team, for example, is working with Tennessee State University and Benedict College to increase the pipeline of qualified candidates from diverse backgrounds. So to all of you who are participating, and I hope all of you are participating in these efforts to make sure that we're taking advantage of the phenomenal talents we've got across our society, thank you for doing that. It's the right thing to do, but it's also better for our mission going forward as well, and making sure that inclusion is at the center of everything that we do. So let me close with where I started, and then happy to take any questions. I've just got a few minutes, and I think you all just have a few minutes before you want to get to your lunch and the rest of the session for a big, big thank you. And I hope that comes across genuinely. It's meant very genuinely. I'm sure many of our speakers are thanking the partnership, the teamwork. But what I want to do is thank you in particular for the career choices that you all have made that have brought you into this room, for the passion that you're bringing to that job, for the teamwork that you're bringing to that job. We all have choices in a free society to work in all sorts of different ways. And I think it's a credit to the character of the folks in the room that you've come together as a team, as partners to work on this incredibly important mission. My hope is maybe we can convince Christopher Nolan to have another movie about our cleanup efforts across the country. If anyone's an aspiring screenwriter and you want to put pen to paper or type something out, we'd be happy to share that with Christopher Nolan and his team. You can offer up your suggestions for who gets to play Ike in the movie or Jeff in the movie. But even if there's no movie, and maybe Hollywood doesn't view the cleanup piece of this as important as the parts that led up to the cleanup piece, I hope you all rest assured at how incredibly important this mission is, and how much we can benefit real lives, real communities, as we're doing, as we will be doing going forward. So just a very genuine thank you for your career choices, your passion, and your teamwork going forward. Thanks, everybody.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Deputy Turk. Does anybody have questions? Well, of course, Seth.
First, thank you. All right, it's on. First, we're very excited that you created a nickname for IMD. So that's congratulations on creating a nickname for him. So we're pretty excited. You know, it's interesting. I'm the executive director of Energy Communities Alliance, and so one of the things that we always are focused on is exactly what you're saying: the workforce, and how do we get them out there. And one of the things is, how do we get people excited and even understanding what it is that we're doing? And we just appreciate the fact that you're working on these things and pushing your folks like Ike and Jeff to continue to work on workforce and those types of things. What other suggestions, or what are some of the things they're doing throughout the department as well to try and get the young people excited in what you all are doing?
Yeah, thanks for the question, and thanks for all the phenomenal partnership. So there's a saying that youth is wasted on the young. Those of us who have parents and see our kids sloth around the house over summer, although now they're back in school, which is great. I think youth also has a lack of perspective, and hopefully we can all have a number of conversations with young colleagues. I know I get folks coming up to me saying, "Hey, do you have any career advice?" The two pieces that I say, which I think really, if they can have some perspective and appreciation, will lend itself to a lot more folks coming into this line of work. One is, what is the mission involved in, right? Is this something that you're going to feel good about 10, 20, 30 years? Are you having real world impact out there? Not just in the abstract, not just in the way that's just a bottom line and you're earning a paycheck, but I think when people, at least the people I've talked to who have had careers that I respect, they look back and they don't remember, oh, I earned this much or whatever. It's what impact did I have in real people's lives and real people's communities. And I think we offer that up in spades. I don't need to tell you all that. Hopefully you're seeing that. I know I've seen that in the communities that I've gone to visit in. And the second piece, which I think again is a core strength of what we're dealing with here, is who are you working with? Right? Like if you work for an asshole, like it's just going to be miserable. Like it's just not much fun. Like a job that looks on paper like it's a great job, like you're just going to be miserable. And what I see is an awful lot of incredibly talented, creative, passionate folks, committed folks because of the real world impact. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity there. It is going to take, I think, a number of conversations, a number of efforts like the effort yesterday in terms of the workshop and bringing in folks. I think for those who are not familiar with the mission, it's going to require going out and explaining and exploring. Maybe we use Oppenheimer. Remember Oppenheimer? Well, there was a lot of waste that was created from all of that, and now we're trying to clean that up and do right by our solemn obligation. And having that kind of conversation, and a number of those conversations from a number of key folks over time, I think is where it's going to get there. So we just all need to keep at it. And if you all have suggestions of things that we could be doing, the secretary, myself, others of us, obviously Ike and Jeff doing an awful lot of that, let us know on that front. But appreciate everybody stepping up and helping to be part of that.
And we have just a couple minutes left, and I hope all of my employees at the City of West Richland do think a little highly of me other than the other potential.
That was not meant to stir this direction, just for the record.
No, it's all good. Anybody else?
Yeah, please.
As a future EM, what are some advice you want us to? As a future EM, what are some of the things you want us to focus on to further excel EM? And also, Ike as Matt Damon, but also Jeff as Carl Urban. Like, I see that.
Well, that's a good one. All right. I was thinking the guy who plays Thor. Who's the guy who plays Thor for Jeff? So maybe a few thoughts for it, and I think Ike and Jeff actually exemplify this, which is it's just a pleasure to work with them and a lot of our other EM colleagues, I have to say. One is a sense of humility and a sense of listening, right? All our parents, I think, and our kindergarten teachers tell us to listen. I'm not sure people listen as much as we need to listen. And whether it's meeting with community leaders or tribes or others, especially those who've been living with the legacy of this for generations, just to try to have some empathy, to try to listen, to try to be humble. We may think we're all super smart and we've got degrees and we're working in science or engineering or business or whatnot, but just having a little bit of humility as we approach our jobs. I think that's important, frankly, in any job, but I think important in this kind of line of work as well. I think what goes along with that is, as smart as we think we are, as talented as we think we are, nothing gets done without partnership and genuine partnership. The word contractor is one I don't like to use. It just doesn't have the connotation that I think we need to have. These are really partnerships and really trying to appreciate and respect. We're all bringing something different to the table and trying to move forward in that common cause. So just a couple suggestions for you.
Okay, let's all thank Deputy Secretary Turk for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks, everybody.
Can I grab a picture real quick?
Yeah. Let's go. Are you guys doing lunch now? All right, you got lunch now.
So with that, we will adjourn for lunch. We do have overflow lunch in Salon H if there's not enough room next door, but lunch is ready for you, and we'll see you back here at 1 o'clock with Congressman Fleischman.